Lionel Messi's Inter Miami faced off against Palmeiras on the eve of his 38th birthday, but would it be a memorable one?
Well, welcome to Miami, and more importantly, the Hard Rock Stadium for the last part of Group A here, as Inter Miami will host Palmeiras to determine who will be going through to the round of 16. Look at the space! Look at the time! Allende! Oh! Today Allende will give Inter Miami the perfect start. Luis Suarez. It's past 1 or 2. Luis Suarez still for Inter Miami! It's more mayhem in Miami! Chance of Paulinho! That one lofted it into Lopez. Falcone! Oh, wow! A goal that changes everything! At the Hard Rock Stadium, it's Inter Miami 2, Palmeiras 2.
OK, so Group A. Palmeiras top the group. Inter Miami are through. We get one more game of Messi. I think most people are happy about that. FC Porto finished joint third or joint fourth, whichever you want to look at it, with Al Ahly. So kind of as you were from the start of the day. And it was, again, another really, really good game, wasn't it? It's one where Palmeiras got themselves back into it, but the starting point was a bit disappointing. And a lot of people were talking online about this because, of course, Estevao and Messi were the two main talking points when it came to this one. And you can see the two teams here. And what we wanted to show you was something that initially you might think is not too big of a deal. If you think of the 4-4-2 that you see with Inter Miami, and we spoke about it on the press in that win against Porto, we saw that they were a lot more compact defensively. And that 4-4-2 that you see was what you saw when they didn't have the ball. Very, very conservative from that point of view. But what we wanted to touch on was when they did have the ball. Busquets having lots of touches, especially once they kind of snuck into the lead. And when we're talking about Messi and we're talking about Estevao, this was getting a lot of attention. Estevao having to defend really, really deep. And a lot of people talking online saying he should have been a lot higher. And Niamh, you agree. Why do you think that he shouldn't be back there?
I think they were giving him the ball quite early, and he was finding himself in positions where it was a constant magnet for the opposition. They were constantly putting two players on him, but it didn't really benefit them because he had so much space still that he had to either run into or perhaps a pass. And I found that Palmeiras could be quite slow breaking out, and so maybe there wasn't even an option for him to find someone else. And actually in the second half, when things changed, you saw a way to make the most of him that you didn't see in the first half.
So here you can see him making that run, can't you?
Look how deep he's
It's that starting point for him, isn't it? You know, if it's a game where you want to kind of be the aggressor here a lot of the time, and this is an Inter Miami side that generally, you know, is pretty slow in transition. So if you've got someone like Estevao up there, or you want him up there, you don't want him deep. Is that right, Niamh?
Because he was often doing the first action really well. Like he would perhaps maybe beat a man to begin with, or he'd sort of cut inside nicely. But then if he still had quite a bit more to do, I suppose you could also say on his behalf, maybe he didn't release the ball in times that he could have released it. He held on to it for a bit too long, and that could have been maybe something. If he's higher up, he's going to release it a little bit quicker. But you saw when he has just those actions, the little passes, taking it past one man, there's not anybody else on that team that can do it as well as him. So you want him to be in an area where he's most threatening on the pitch for sure.
Yeah.
And there was often times where he was making some brilliant runs in between the opposition centre-back and left-back, and he just wasn't found. But then I found that in that second half, when Alan came on and pushed up high and wide the right-back, he would cut sort of inside of his runs, and it opened up space on the right-hand side for other players to walk into as well. So there's definitely lots of ways you can make the most of having him, and I don't think in the first half they did, but in the second half I think they started to.
Yeah, I think you're with me on this, Jules. It does feel like he's trying just maybe a touch too hard, and therefore the final ball, the final output's not been there. You could definitely see something, but yeah, I think the hype has maybe getting to him a touch. Two players that have been there and done it, linked for the second goal for Inter Miami. We spoke about Suarez and maybe the fact that he was maybe struggling a little bit physically, not being able to get to the ball, but he got to the ball here and he did the business, didn't he, Liz?
Of course, man. I mean, look, Luis Suarez, it's been an interesting tournament, if I'm going to be kind, but You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. And this right here is vintage Luis Suarez. Now, some people will look at the little touches off the defenders, and maybe the goalkeeper gets a hand on that as well, too. But Rio Ferdinand speaks about Luis Suarez, and he says he's one of those players that he almost seems to just run into you when he dribbles, but it's just sheer power that gets him past it. I've seen this goal from Suarez at least 10 times in his career. Look, he's not as fast as he used to be. He might not be as sharp as he used to be.
What do you think about this? Is that on purpose, that little bounce
Look,
down?
it might not be on purpose, but again, it
Come on,
just
George,
happens for him so many times that at some point you have to say, it's not luck when it's him. Maybe a different player you can say that.
Yeah, it's just that he got lucky that the defender still touched the ball and that he went his way. But you're right, you provoke that kind of luck, that the ball still fell onto your path then to shoot. But even the keeper touches the ball, so he got a bit lucky on that one.
Yeah, it was we've seen that goal, haven't we? We've seen that goal so many times. And it's nice for him to get one. There's been a lot of pressure on him. Messi did sort of step up. He was kind of being press-proof in that moment and was able to play that pass to Suarez, and then Suarez did the business, as I said. But Messi was not happy at the end of the game, going off in what's technically known as a huff. Here he is walking off.
He's mumbling even.
Mumbling away. You don't normally see this with...
You never know. It's his birthday tomorrow. Maybe he's just trying to get to the celebrations early.
Yeah, someone's eating his cake.
Yeah, he thought he was going to... He wanted cake at full time, didn't he?
You know what? I kind of understand it, right? Like, I mean, like, they put so much energy into getting into that lead, and to throw it away the way they did, and now going from a game against Botafogo to now playing against Paris Saint-Germain, for him, he must be thinking, like, we put all this work for what?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, so, as the bracket forms, this is the first couple of fixtures that we've got here. PSG versus Inter Miami and Palmeiras versus Botafogo. Let's start with PSG versus Inter Miami. Niamh, can Messi do it with this one? Is there any chance here? This would be, how big of a shock would it be if Inter Miami were able to get it done?
It would. I think the problem he's got is a lot of the areas that he likes to pick up the ball quite a lot deeper. You look at that PSG midfield, they're just runners, aren't they? And they've just got that they may be able to eat him up.
To the point of Neves, he should have a field day, should he not?
Yeah, and I think that the midfield battle would be very interesting. And it's Messi against his former club, and it was written somewhere that they would meet again at some point after the 2 years he spent there. He was not happy there. Nothing really worked out for him and for the team while he was there. So it's very interesting that they meet again when PSG has moved away from the bling-bling signing and the Messi type of signing to find success. When he was there, the success never came.